that?
Yes, you are good, Victor.
Okay. So I'm going to be talking about the history of Christmas. Firstly, you guys know what Christmas is, or why do we, celebrate it, or why what the holiday is exactly?
Girls have so much of the lead, I don't think I'm going to answer.
Maybe Jesus. But
Yes, Jesus. That's a very large part of its naming and the culture around it. Thank you. So here's a brief history about it. So the dang it. So generally, the end of the agricultural season and start of the winter solstice, at winter when all the crops don't have any aren't able to grow because of all the snow and all the cold. It's always been celebrated since around the world for a long time, such as the Norrises, Yule, the Germans honoring Odin, and the Roman Saturnalia. It's always been a very large time of celebrating. Then in like the 14th century, Pope Julius I he adopted and absorbed the traditions of like the pagan festivals, specifically the Romans Saturnalia for Christmas celebrations. So then it's much more wider reaching and greater festival and holiday, outside of like the Christian community to make it spread out more into the world. But then later on in the 17th century, after a lot of religious reform and religious persecution that was previously said before, and uh, about the programs, the Christmas was canceled. You know, like I said before, pilgrims when they came to America, they had outlawed all Christmas in their in any celebrations because of it being part of the British traditions and how even after they had won the American revolutions, they had they didn't want to embrace anything British, such as Christmas and such like that. That very much caused Christmas to not become a major holiday in America in the United for until June 26 in 1870s, where it got where it now became a very large national holiday, and where Americans would later go on and embrace and update the traditions of Christmas um, with the traditions from other immigrants who have came to America, such as the Dutch with their Saint Nicholas, and people with celebrating by decorating Christmas trees and such, and very much created what we know as Christmas in America today. Um, Here, next, I want to talk about some activities that are in happens during Christmas. Do you guys know any Christmas activities that happen during Christmas?
caroling.
Yes, that's a very large tradition. Anything else?
Food.
Yes, eating food is a very,
Changing gifts.
very, yes, exchanging gifts. Very good, very good. So first, I'm going to talk about building gingerbread houses, which consist of sticking together cookie pieces with frosting and decorating with candy. And there's like a lot of very amazing examples by architects and engineers online of them creating elaborate and stunning, gingerbread houses with their skills and knowledge. But then for like most people, it's sometimes just a very hard activity to do with the frosting and cookies and decorations always sticking together, as you can see right here. Has have you guys ever tried building a gingerbread house before?
I have, actually. I gave up halfway and just ate all the gingerbread.
Yeah, a lot of people do that because it's a very hard thing to do with the icing melting and stuff such like that. the traditions of actually decorating and building a gingerbread houses actually began in Germany in the early 1800s. It was supposedly popularized by the fairy tale of Hansel and Gretel, which do you guys know the fairy tale of Hansel and Gretel? Anyone know?
Yeah, I think in Chinese it was translated as the candy house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, literally, right?
Yes. So, as you know, in the book and the story, the children get lost in the woods and they find a large house made of candy and cookies, and people liked it a lot, so they try to recreate it in real life. Another activity is decorating your house for Christmas, with people loving to decorate the outside of their house with amazing lights, inflatables, and statues, and much more. Giving out shows and such, and people going on bus rides where they tour neighborhoods with amazing decorations. And people also like to decorate with Christmas trees, stockings, and ribbons, and candles, and snow globes, and so much more inside the house. And actually, much long before there were Christmas lights, people would decorate their houses with candles, where they would light their trees with small candles attached with wax or pins, and also around the houses. And they also did it to indicate to other Christians that their house was a place where they could be welcomed. Also later then in the 1880s, Thomas Edison, he introduced and created outdoor electric Christmas displays, and he showed it around his laboratory. And then much later, Edward Johnson, who was studying under uh, Thomas Edison, he had created the first string of Christmas lights, which had tiny light bulbs and such, and he sold it around and created a very large hit among people. And then as that tradition came on, people wanted to decorate with those new lights, but they weren't able to because not a lot of people could afford them. So they would just keep on decorating with candles. And if you know anything about candles and how they have fire, and how good trees are with fire, it didn't really end too well for a lot of people, where their trees would catch on fire with their candles burning it all down, and that
Christmas
caused
story.
lots of people. Yes.
Christmas Story. The movie. Sorry.
Oh, Chris.
Have you not seen it?
No.
They're curtain
No.
and trees catch on fire.
Interesting. Yeah. So yeah, it's a large thing. Even today, people catch their trees on fire with the Christmas lights because they use too many lights and they blow a fuse and such like that. So it's still a large problem today even. Another thing people like to do is playing in the snow, building snowmen, making snow angels, and having snowball fights, and, building igloos, and, a lot more stuff. They also enjoy skiing and snowboarding and sledding, and also ice skating and even more. Has anyone ever played in snow? Anyone have any stories of them? No?
Yeah, because we don't have snow here in Taiwan. Only if you go to really high top of the mountain, can you see real snow. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Another tradition is very popular tradition is waiting out for Santa, which people were leaving out cookies and milk, and kids trying to stay up and camp all night trying to see him. Also, in the United States, we have something called the NORAD Santa tracker, where we're able to track Santa and see where he's going in this night, and try to catch him and such. Also, the legend of Santa Claus was actually traced back hundreds of years to a monk called Saint Nicholas, who was born around 280 AD in Partra near Turkey, modern Turkey, and he was very much praised for his pity and kindness to people, where he would help a lot of people around him, which caused him to be known as the protector of children and sailors around, and caused his legend and awe and love of him to spread a lot around the world. Another thing is gathering with family, having your family visit and come eat like great food and be grateful to each other, much like in Thanksgiving, having to a lot of the stereotypical foods of Christmas are like ham, mashed potatoes, turkey, prime rib, Brussels sprouts, much more. Again, very much like Thanksgiving, with the food and the coming together and being grateful to each other, and also exchanging of gifts and doing a lot of fun activities like previous stated, such as playing in the snow, building gingerbread houses, decorating, and much more stuff. Do you guys have any foods you guys like to eat during your guys' holiday near next during December, like the New Year? Because have any foods you guys like to eat?
Yeah. I think Ryan said the Winter Solstice festival thing we have, the celebration we have on that day, 冬至. On that day, we eat, like I've said, what would you call them? I want to call them sticky rice balls, but that's not what they are.
Yeah.
But they're technically
Yeah,
made from the
glutinous rice
same.
ball.
They're technically made from the same material, but I
Dumpling.
wouldn't call them that. So they're that. And during the New Year, so we serve many different things, and most of them have names that pertain to some kind of Chinese phrase, you could say. For example, we serve fish because in Chinese the word for fish is yu, and there is this phrase called 年年有余, basically means that you'll have leftover money every single year. And so, because it has a very similar pronunciation, we serve fish. This also applies to many other dishes that we have.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Uh, yeah, that's very much large. Oh,
Yeah,
about the culture
I
of
think
you know.
I think we have
Yes.
many more other kind of dishes.
Hmm.
Yeah, we also have other kinds of dishes. So I'm wondering if there's any students who can share with us, like, what do we usually eat during New Year time? Something else